Blackpool versus Portsmouth, October 1968. In this video, we rewind to 1968, when hooliganism was in its infancy, and only a few firms travelled away. West Ham, Millwall, Chelsea, Man United and Portsmouth, to name a few. The difference being Portsmouth had a massive skinhead firm, the Pompey Boot Boys. And this is a story of what happened when they visited Blackpool in October 1968. Let's hear the stories. First, we have Blackpool mucker Dave told us. I was 16, just a skinny lad from the Revo, tagging along with a few schoolmates for another Saturday on the Cop. We didn't expect much. Portsmouth was miles away, and who in their right mind would travel that far just for football? The bus dropped us off at the bottom of Bloomfield Road like usual. But something was different. Spray painted in bold black letters on the bridge were the words, Pompey Boot Boys. We all stopped in our tracks. "What's a boot boy?" one of the lads asked. We didn't know then. But by 3 o'clock that day, we would. We paid our 1 shilling and 11 pence and made our way up the right-hand stairs to the Spion Cop. That's where the junior turnstile was, and most of the kids and families ended up there. Halfway up, we could already hear the chanting, loud, booming, like thunder under the old wooden roof. At first, we thought it was our lot, singing early. But as we reached the top and looked out across the Cop, we froze. Right there in our end was a pack of them, at least 200 of them, shoulder to shoulder like a battalion. Skinheads. Proper ones. They looked like they'd just landed off a warship. Shaved heads gleaming in the sun, red raw faces from lager and wind, braces stretching over white vests and Ben Shermans, Levi's tight and rolled up above thick maroon socks, steel toe-capped boots planted wide like they were expecting trouble. And from the look of them, they wanted it. We just stood there, wide-eyed. One of them spotted us, a wiry-looking bloke with a bulldog jaw, and growled something. We scarpered down to the front of the Cop near the pitch, not even embarrassed. That's where the young'uns always went when things looked like kicking off. It was safer down there. Then it started. It began with one of our older lads, probably late teens, big tall fella in a Crombie. He marched up the steps like he owned the place, giving it the Blackpool, Blackpool chant. He got 2 steps into the Pompey lot before they swarmed him. Boots and fists everywhere. I saw him go down, arms over his head, trying to curl up as half a dozen of them laid into him. That was the spark. More of our older lot appeared from the sides. They'd clearly been watching from the periphery, waiting for reinforcements or just picking their moment. They charged the Pompey skins from both flanks. It was pure mayhem. Fists were flying. Bottles cracked against railings. Someone had a rolled-up newspaper with a piece of scaffolding hidden inside. He swung it like a club. The noise echoed through the Cop. Thuds, yells, the crack of boot on bone. We could only watch. It was terrifying and weirdly exciting. I saw a Blackpool lad swing a punch and knock a Pompey skin clean down the stairs, blood smearing the step behind him. A second later, 2 more came charging after him, boots first. They didn't even check if he was moving. And yet, the Pompey Boot Boys didn't budge. They stood their ground like a military unit. Every time one went down, another stepped up. They were older, harder, and more organized than anything we'd ever seen. Back then, Bloomfield Road was like the Wild West on match days. But this was something else. These weren't just away fans having a tear-up. This was an invasion. By the time the match kicked off, the police finally surged in. Proper old-school coppers with truncheons drawn. They piled into the Cop and started dragging lads out, kicking and swinging indiscriminately. I saw one ginger-haired copper, face like thunder, lift a Pompey skin by the scruff and launch him into the back of a Black Maria, then yank him back out and do it again just for good measure. The game itself? Blackpool 1, Portsmouth 1. Tom White scored, apparently. I don't remember much else. All we talked about for days was the Boot Boys. Even after the whistle, it wasn't over. The Pompey lads spilled out onto Bloomfield Road like a tidal wave, kicking bins over, shouting for Blackpool to come and have another go. I heard later they smashed up cars in the car park and roughed up a van with kids inside. Coppers finally got the last of them away near the Mecca, but not before another dust-up near Rigby Road. That night, in the Matador arcade, we were buzzing. Not scared anymore, inspired. That was the day the boot boy craze really started for us seasiders. Next week, half our lot were queuing at the barbers, demanding skinhead cuts and heading into town looking for DMs, braces and Ben Shermans. Looking back now, they were probably all in their 20s back then. Lads who'd done their time in the forces or shipyards, hardened by life. We were just kids. But they left their mark all right. That Saturday in 1968, Portsmouth didn't just bring fans. They brought a uniform, a statement, an identity, and every young Blackpool lad watching, whether from the terraces, the Matador, or peeking behind a wall near Rigby Road, suddenly wanted to be part of something bigger. We might have lost the battle on the Cop that day, but in a strange way, it helped shape the Blackpool Boot Boys that followed, and none of us ever forgot the day Pompey invaded. Pompey fan Stan told us, "I was one of the original Pompey Boot Boys. I grew up on a rough old council estate in Buckland. My dad worked on the docks and was as hard as nails. I was a skinhead by the time I was 14 and loved every minute of it. I would go into the away end at Portsmouth and fight the away fans if there were any. In the 1960s, there were only a few ever, unless we drew one of the big clubs in the Cup. I remember Man City getting run out the Fratton end. Anyway, Portsmouth back then, and still to this day, was rough. Not the sort of place you want to get lost in, if you're an away fan. Anyway, Blackpool away 1968. I do remember it. The sun was just rising when we rolled out of Portsmouth. 3 coaches full of skins, Pompey Boot Boys, fresh boots polished, braces snapping, red faces from cider and cigarette smoke. No one slept. We were too wired. This wasn't just another away day. This was Blackpool, the north, enemy territory. Our lot was a mix from all over the city. Fratton, Paulsgrove, Buckland, Somerstown. Each area had its own edge, but inside that coach we were all one. One look was all it took. Shaved heads, Ben Shermans buttoned to the neck, Levis with perfect turn-ups, steel-toe DMs planted wide, no hippies, no long hairs, no greasers. If you weren't a skin, you weren't getting on the coach. This was Pompey Boot Boys only, the real firm. We pulled into Blackpool mid-morning, and it was like landing in Disneyland for Boot Boys. The tower loomed above us, the streets already full of clueless tourists. We hit the fun fair first, maybe 200 of us, swarming off the coaches in tight packs. It didn't take long for the first scuffle to break out. Some local wide boy in flares, probably trying to impress his bird, mouthed off as we took over the waltzers. Mistake. He ended up face down in the candy floss stall with 2 of our lads stamping on his head to the tune of Blue Army. Police were on us early, trying to herd us toward the seafront like cattle. Didn't work. On the promenade we were in full voice, "Pompey, Pompey, Pompey Boot Boys," echoing off the arcades. A copper tried to drag one of our lads off for lobbing a bottle. 10 of us piled in. A full-on ruck broke out on the beach, coppers swinging truncheons, us swinging fists, boots sinking in the sand. One of the Somerstown boys ripped the helmet clean off a copper and launched it into the sea. We scattered laughing, regrouped near the pier, and marched off like nothing had happened. By 1:30, we were marching down Bloomfield Road. Locals froze as we passed, hundreds of them, just standing with their mouths open like we were something from another planet. That's the thing about us. We didn't just show up, we arrived. Blackpool didn't know what hit it. Getting into the ground was easy. No segregation worth speaking of. We paid our £1 and a bit and went straight into the cop end. Their end. Right in the middle. Not hiding, not blending. boots on their turf. They stared. Dozens of Blackpool kids, half our size, gawping at us like we were invading Martians. Most of them scarpered down to the front wall, hoping to avoid what was coming. But a few older lads tried their luck. Poor sods. One big local came striding in with his chest puffed up, giving it large. Brave, stupid. He never made it past the third step before he got folded by a boot in the guts. Then the fists rained down. His mates tried to back him up some fair play, but we were too many, too fast. It was like a pack of jackals swarming a wounded animal. Steel caps, headbutts, elbows. One poor Blackpool lad went down screaming, nose bent sideways. They didn't come back. Every time we saw another pocket of seasiders creeping up the steps, we'd turn to face them, stared them down. They always turned back. One even dropped his scarf and ran. I kept it, still got it. By kick-off, the cop was ours, fully taken. You could hear a pin drop in the rest of the ground. Even the players looked shook. We sang loud, chanting Pompey songs that half the North hadn't heard before. I doubt they'll forget them now. The match? A draw. 1-1. No one cared. We didn't come for the football. We came for territory, and we took it. After the final whistle, we expected more, a bit of payback, but Blackpool never showed. Their lads didn't even come out the ground. We waited outside, pacing, boots tapping. Nothing. They'd had enough. The cop belonged to Pompey, and they knew it. We filled the streets again, still 200 strong, marching back toward the coaches parked near the seafront. Locals gave us a wide berth. Shops slammed shutters. Some old dear locked herself in a phone box when we passed. We laughed, lighting fags and kicking bins over just to make a point. There was one more scrap, outside the Mecca, near the coach park. A bunch of Blackpool lads, maybe South Shore crew or something, tried a last-ditch hit. Didn't last long. One of our Fratton boys caught a local across the chin with a bottle. Bang! Out cold. Police came screaming round the corner, and we legged it, boots pounding the tarmac. Back on the coaches, bruised and buzzing, we compared war wounds, busted knuckles, black eyes, blood still drying on shirt collars. One lad had a copper's watch as a trophy. Another had that scarf I took, Blackpool tangerine, now half red from blood. We sang the whole way home. Looking back now, most of us are old men, hair gone, by choice or by time. But that day in 1968 still lives in every one of us. Blackpool learned what the Pompey Boot Boys were all about. No peace signs, no hippies, no other subcultures. Just skins, brotherhood, violence, pride. And that day, we ruled the North. We thank Dave and Stan for their recollections. Portsmouth's firm, the 657 crew, are now legendary. But this pre-657 firm deserve a mention, hence this video. It's clear they invaded and took Blackpool, but at least Blackpool had a go back. Great days and great memories had by all. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe as it really helps our channel grow. Until the next video, bye for now.